Welcome, everyone, to the No Streetlights podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Tim. We'll be diving deeply into what we've been through, how it changed us, and what we've learned.
We want to crush stigmas through exploration and raw, honest discussions. Let's come together and break through these social norms by being vulnerable and open with each other. So take a breath, relax, and be welcome.
And a huge thank you to Highland Markle for the original music, as well as all the pre- and post-production assistance.
We couldn't have done it without you, brother. Thank you.
You can find him on the gram at HYLANDMARKLE for all of your mixing and mastering needs.
Listeners, this is your trigger warning.
We're going to discuss many sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia,
substance abuse disorders, suicidal thoughts and ideations, and innumerable triggering situations.
We are all about shining a light on what we're going through.
And that's not always going to be pretty.
Listen at your own discretion.
And please, reach out if we need to be doing something better.
And if you need help now, call 988 for the National Suicide Hotline.
Or 911 for immediate emergency intervention. All right, Tim, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty okay.
How's your mom?
She's okay. She was telling me some stuff that's been going on, kind of catching me up. I've been gone all weekend, and unfortunately, I missed out on the chance to call her on her day off. So we had to do our little catch up, and she had some medical appointments she needed to tell me about and stuff. And you know, it's nothing too crazy, but I'm just gonna be making sure I call her and check up on her, make sure everything's okay.
Makes sense.
What about you, Aaron? How are you doing today?
I'm doing a lot better today than I have been lately. My wife got me some rollerblades, so I spent my morning rollerblading around the neighborhood, listening to music and stuff.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah, you know my depression's been kicking my ass, so it was nice to get out and zoom around. I even took Rupert on a little bit of a run.
Well, that one's got a lot of energy.
Oh, God. It's insane. He was sprinting, and he kept looking at me like he was bored.
Wow.
I could probably keep up with him if I got a motorcycle.
I mean, can you ride a motorcycle? Like, does your doctor allow you to, or is that something that you're not allowed to do anymore?
Well, my doctor can eat my ass. I'm not disqualified from any vehicular use. I just have to be mindful of how much stress I'm putting on my neck and how much input I'm sending up my spine into my central nervous system, because that's what really incapacitates me.
Have you ever worn one of those bike helmets? They're pretty heavy.
I have worn motorcycle helmets before. They are pretty heavy, but I mean, they keep making them lighter and lighter. And if I'm just going around town or around the block, I don't foresee it being an issue.
That's fair.
If I was riding for longer than like half an hour, I think is when my neck would start to crap out. Tim and I have faced many challenges on our journeys of personal growth, including many pertaining to mental health. That's why we're excited to talk about our sponsorship with BetterHelp.
No matter what you're going through, be it depression, anxiety, relationship, or identity issues, or if you just need an outside perspective on what you're going through, BetterHelp can be an incredible option for you.
Knowing how and where to get effective, affordable therapy is a major concern for many people. And with BetterHelp, you can connect with a licensed therapist from the comfort of your own home.
Schedule appointments and attend sessions on your phone, laptop, or tablet. You can even message your therapist whenever you need their support. If you're interested in giving therapy a try, check out betterhelp.com/NSLP for No Streetlights Podcast, or click the link in the description to start your journey of improving your mental health and becoming who you want to be.
By using our link, you'll get 10% off your first month, and you'll be helping our message reach even more people. Thank you so much for all of your support. So we have a guest today.
Yes, we do. Would you like to go ahead and give him the introduction?
Sure. I don't know how well I'm going to do this because it's my first time providing this introduction. But on the line with us today is my father, Forrest Glen. He's a good man. He's definitely a wise beard man living out in the mountains.
Wait, can I take a crack at this real quick just to help you out?
I would love that.
Let's give it up for Forrest Glen! Woo!
Hello.
He is from the mountain.
Doing?
He is made of clay. He's a real boy. He's at least half bear. And we're pretty sure he has Lyme's disease.
That just comes with being in West Virginia.
Yeah, man. All them time out in them woods. How you doing, Dad?
Doing all right today.
Good. So,
Living in dreams.
yeah, let's hope we don't wake up anytime soon.
Living a dream.
Yeah, man. Could be a lot worse, that's for sure.
Yeah?
I was reading this morning Mother Teresa's prayer,
Uh-huh.
or poem, excuse me.
Oh,
And
the one about thoughts becoming actions?
no, it's about do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Do It Anyway, and it's hard to do it anyway
Yeah.
sometimes.
What do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
Well, popular opinions, I mean, sometimes you go against popular opinion or and you're doing the right thing or you're doing your thing or, you know, you're focusing, and it's not always easy.
Yeah, we found that with this podcast. You know, me and Tim trying to be open and honest and communicate what we're going through. It's really tough. Especially with my depression kicking my ass past couple weeks. Like, there have been days where it's hard to get out of bed, but guess what?
Gotta do it anyway.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
But I think I can completely agree with both of you on that. You know, sometimes, especially before I started getting some medication to kind of help me get through that little hump in the morning, there would be times where do it anyway. I would take that as I'm just going to lay in bed. I don't want to do anything today.
Yeah. I know I've talked a couple times about when I got back stateside and my depression was through the roof and all I was doing was walking Chuck. But that's
Yeah.
why I think I really love spending time with my dad and being out there in the woods, because we're doing that manual labor that kind of like purifies your soul, you know, wrings out all the impurities. I love digging ditches and cutting firewood and stuff because it clears your mind and gets your heart right, man.
Yeah.
So we've got Dad on the podcast, not only because he's had a phenomenal life where he has developed an inhuman amount of resiliency and accomplished, you know, hilarious feats that are the stuff of legend, and we've told the stories 100 times, and we'll tell them 100 more. But right now, we're going through some stuff, and like the name alludes to, and our opener explicitly states, we're all about shining a light on what's going on and just being open and honest. So, Dad, do you want to kind of open up about what's going on right now, or do you want us to talk about it? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. And communicable.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
We can trademark it. That'll be your
Able to
word.
Communicate. Pardon me?
I'm pretty sure it's in the Merriam-Webster.
Yeah. Communicative.
Communicative. Yeah.
All right. So what's up?
Well, I think the line that stands out the most to me today in the Do It Anyway poem would be someone can steal your life savings, save anyway. You know, and I think sometimes people don't recover from things that happen in their lives. And it has been my goal to recover, not only recover from some different things, but to excel or prosper. Prosper is a better word.
So it sounds like that line to you just means like, don't give up just because there's some risk. That doesn't mean it's not worth taking the steps to obtain
Right.
the view that you're looking for.
Right.
Okay.
Do it anyway. I mean, sometimes it's tough. And right now, me and my family are going through some really hard times. It's with my son Aaron and my daughter Robin.
How much do you know about what's going on, Tim?
I know kind of the surface level of it. I'm not super educated in it myself, so I gotta say, knowledge-wise, if somebody had asked me to explain it, I probably wouldn't be super good about it.
Well, that's fair, but the thing I want to get to is later this month, after our family reunion, Dad's going to be coming back down to Virginia Beach with me for some hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Yes.
Dad, do you want to share kind of why?
Well, it's a little surprising when the doctor tells you what's going on in the moment.
Yeah.
And it takes some time to adjust, to absorb. What has happened is my levels for my prostate are rising rapidly in a bad way, in a negative way.
Yeah.
And the doctor was wanting me to get some treatments. And to be honest with you, something that enormous is scary. And at first, I just wanted some time to absorb what was happening and educate myself as much as possible through the internet and friends and things. Family members have died from cancer. My mother died from cancer and lung cancer. And our neighbor had cancer and passed years ago. And there's been a lot of ailments. That's the other thing with me. There has been diagnosis after diagnosis since the early 1990s, and a lot of medications and things for the last 30 years. Before that, I was 30 years ago. Before that, I'd been to the doctor just a handful of times and had pneumonia once. Then I was in the hospital when I was a child, and I broke my left hand when I was 18 and went to the doctor, had a cast. Other than that, it was just routine checks every couple years or when I needed a tetanus shot up till 30. And then when I hit 30, I was diagnosed with addiction, alcoholism, and since then it's bipolar, and PTSD later. And now, for some reason, September last year, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and it really upset me. I was going through some serious depression, and I didn't know, with the pain and things arthritis brings down the pike, I didn't know how I was going to survive another winter with my depression.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off. And it made me mad at everybody, the doctors, and, they took their good old time to tell me. It took 8 hours in the hospital. And I'm getting old and cranky and waiting around in waiting rooms. And, I've heard stories about people having to get rides for chemotherapy or treatment, breathing treatment or blood treatment, and sometimes you have to wait on people and then to give you a ride to the facility. If you miss your appointment time by 5 minutes, they cancel it, and then you have to wait on your ride to get back. I would be so frustrated in those kind of predicaments that I don't know if I could be a human being to anybody. And that scares me. And that's disrespectful and very unpolite. And I don't like that in myself or in people. And the nightmare, the fears of all this has been overwhelming. The chemotherapy and radiation that's possibly coming down the pike after a CAT scan or a colonoscopy or
biopsy,
blood work or biopsy, the biopsy hurts you the rest of your life. And to me, it's almost as if, I know it's not this way, but it's almost as if the doctors and people torture you the last years of your life or the last months. And I refuse to play with that chance that I can live without treatment and live long and quality of life versus them torturing me, whatever. I'd rather live 6 months quality than 2 years being tortured.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I look at it. And I hate it because everybody I talk to wants to tell me what to do. And it's upsetting me to the point I don't want to talk to anybody about it,
It's your choice. It's your body. You should be allowed to choose exactly how you want to tackle this.
So, for our people who understand PSA scores and prostate health, just to give you the raw data, Dad's PSA score was 8, like 3 or 4 months ago. And then 3 months later, it was at 12.5. So from like 4 to 10 is like, hey, we need to watch your prostate health. And after 10, it's like pretty for sure cancer. And it going from 8.5 to 12 or 8 to 12.5, whatever it was, in that short of a time frame, when I had a discussion with the doctor, they said it is probably, meaning with a very high degree of certainty, the most likely thing is that Dad has aggressive prostate cancer. But the only way to confirm that is with a biopsy. But a biopsy is them putting you to sleep, cutting you open, cutting out a sample, and that's dangerous for a young, healthy person. And Dad has been through a lot. Like the last decade, every winter he's had pneumonia and or bronchitis. And every year he's like, I might die this winter. Which is tough, but, I do have to respect your wishes as your son and as what I think of it as a decent human being. So if you don't want to get a biopsy and then have your prostate cut out of you and then go to chemotherapy and radiation, and that's your call. If we can do hyperbaric oxygen therapy and that gets you back down to like normal levels, and we can get some saw palmetto and some other herbal supplements, my buddy's trying to put together a package for us now. And if we can get another 10 years, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. What exactly is the hyperbaric oxygen therapy? What do they do?
So I'm not a doctor, but I've had some friends recommend HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, because it's non-invasive. It's basically like a big pressure tank.
Okay.
They increase the pressure to where you're at more than, the normal 1 Earth's atmosphere that you would have at sea level or whatever.
Right.
33 feet.
Okay.
Underwater.
Okay. Well, the pressure is different based on the machine you're using, but then they feed pure oxygen into the machine so that they're basically pumping oxygen into your body so that all your blood vessels and stuff are carrying that super rich oxygenated red blood cell into every cell and kind of flushing them out and giving it a chance to heal, kind of giving it your best opportunity for your body to heal itself, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of it before, but I would say that sounds like a very reasonable explanation. I would take it.
And the studies say that, like, it increases your, telomeres and stuff, which is the aging thing that everyone measures.
Uh-huh.
They say it helps with dementia, brain injuries, all physical ailments and injuries.
Huh.
They say they've had people, stage 4 prostate cancer who have made full recoveries from supplementing their care with hyperbaric oxygen therapy because it just really accelerates the healing process. So, that's where we're trying to go. We've started a GoFundMe because Dad's on Social Security and I'm medically retired. So, we're not raking in the big bucks yet. We've only reached a couple hundred people with the podcast.
Yeah.
Once we hit millions, we'll probably be able to...
Tens of thousands?
I would love to reach tens of thousands of people.
10,000 subscriber special.
Deal. I'll take my top off.
All right. We'll have video by then.
We'll buy stocks at SpaceX.
Or Twitter X.
Yeah, I'll just buy Twitter stock. I think it's like $40 or something right now.
Well, I think you can buy Twitter for like...
Yeah.
You're allowed to just buy Twitter, it turns out.
Oh, yeah. Actually, tell you what, if we get to like 2 million subscribers, we'll buy Twitter. Help us buy Twitter.
Yeah, help us buy Twitter.
Help me retire.
Yeah, help Tim retire, help Dad get his H-bot.
First and foremost, though, the GoFundMe, yeah, that's something that I think we've already shared it on our page, but I think we'll just keep sharing it.
So, I personally haven't shared it on our page. I've just been sharing it on my Facebook.
Okay.
We're still getting no streetlights built. So,
Right.
I haven't wanted to make it seem as though we have generated this platform just to pay for my father's medical treatments.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Obviously, I'm going to do everything in my power to take care of it, and we're going to get this done. But no streetlights, we're about sharing our story and the stories of others.
Right.
We're not about squeezing money out of people's pockets.
No, that's not why we started this ever, and that's never going to be our goal.
We're in the ballpark of like episode 6, 7, plus or minus a couple, depending on how chops go.
Yeah.
So,
You guys need more from me?
what do you mean? Oh, yeah, we're still talking, Dad.
Oh, absolutely. I got some stuff I want to ask you, as long as you're willing to, answer them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to get back to you, Dad?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Go ahead.
Well, the bookend on this thought was like we just started a Patreon, 6
Yeah.
episodes in. So we're definitely not in it for money. But the overwhelming support we received has been breathtaking.
Yeah.
And so we just want to be on as many platforms as possible so that we can interact with as many people as possible. And if they want to help us, we're not going to say no.
I mean, how many times have we talked about always accept help? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Always offer and always give help.
Yeah.
Good bookend there. So I think first thing that I kind of want to know about Forrest here is, can you just kind of like tell me about yourself? You mentioned a little bit of your history already. Talked about you pretty much were very healthy up until about your 30s and stuff like that. But tell us about yourself. What kind of things do you like to do? What's your hobbies? What kind of things are you interested in? What do you like?
Well, Tim, I like a lot of things, but
I like that.
I'm an artist, mostly, and a family person. I grew up in a pretty big family on my mother's side. My dad had a lot of family, but we didn't visit a lot of his family. growing up was a little bit rough. There was a lot of aggression in the home, probably around around 5 years old, and I started my first job at 5. I remember right before I started school, my mom gave me a chore that was work to me, and I didn't understand. I had a little sister and a little brother. My little brother was just born, and I didn't understand why I was being picked on. Nobody else had to carry the coal, and that was my first resentment, I would say. And life went on. It never stopped being difficult, it seemed. With the abuse especially, my perspective was, at the time, there was a lot of Vietnam news on the TV, and Gunsmoke was on. The cowboys were killing the Indians, and I remember one time my mom was crying a lot for a while, and I kept bugging her. I must have been 7 or 8 or 6, and she finally told me that one of her uncles had committed suicide, and she was close to him. She told me she had a couple uncles. Later on, I found at that time commit suicide. I think it's because they were romantics. They killed themselves over women. And I don't believe there's anything wrong with being romantic, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And life went on. So when I started elementary school, I was disabled, I found, or my family found. I had learning disability, and they did special things and kept me going in school, and I almost didn't graduate. School was just almost unbearable for me. In art, I excelled and nothing else worked. And math, I can understand math, but I wasn't good at it. If it didn't have to do with art, I wasn't interested, I guess. And I had a brother and a sister, my sister behind me, and then my brother. I'm the oldest of two. And around 10 years old, my dad got Parkinson's disease at 31. He was 31, I was 10. That threw a wrench in the works. We went broke and didn't have any income or any form of money or food or anything for about a year and a half. And the neighbors and people helped us out. And Dad had just bought this farm, almost 30 acres. And it was rough times. And about that time, I started getting into drinking a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
Around 11, 12 years old. I had been drinking before that, just sips, and like apple cider and whiskey and just sips. But I started drinking to where I would go out and get up under Dad's seat in the truck and drink a pint. And I couldn't stay away from it. I mean, I'd take a sip, I'd try to walk away, and within an hour or two, I'd be back taking another sip, and then I'd be pouring water in the pint to hide that I took so much because I messed up. And, I loved this stuff. And I couldn't stand dope heads. Could not. I didn't want nothing to do with that. And eventually the booze led to the dope, and I started experimenting with just about anything and everything there was except intravenous stuff. that went on until I got in trouble in school, and then I started wrestling and did well. Got real strong for a couple years, and then got cut by a chainsaw in the wintertime that summer. And then when summer was over and wrestling started around October, September, I couldn't do it because my leg was cut. So I went and started partying again. Got in a lot of trouble real quick, and started wrestling my last 2 years of high school, and did well, and not well wrestling, but did well as far as existing or prospering. Excelled as far as my health goes and my physical abilities. After high school, I had to go back and finish graphic arts. Couple years of vocational school. I was lucky enough when I got in trouble to be a part of ROTC, which is a little bit of like military leadership and aerospace.
Yeah. I think everyone's familiar with ROTC at this point.
We enjoyed that, and I learned how to march and things like that. The only thing is I used it to my disadvantage a lot of times. I knew how to walk when the cops pulled me over for when I should have got a DUI.
So you used your powers for evil.
Yeah, disadvantage. I could have used it for a lot of good things, but I chose. And that's the other thing I found in life that has meaning to me is the power to choose. And we'll talk about that here in a few.
We're definitely team free will.
Hopefully. I think after carrying coal, my next job would have been mowing grass. And I started doing that around 10. Then around 12, 13, I think, I became a trap boy where you put clay birds on a machine that throws it up in the air, and you take a 12-gauge shotgun and shoot them out of the air for target practice. I did that until I was like 19.
Wow, that's something.
And that's a different definition of what we normally hear for a trap boy. Dad was out here trapping. Dad was out trapping before it was cool.
Yeah.
I worked at a gas station before, you had to be 13 to work at a gas station.
13. Wow.
And I was 12. So he paid me about $3 less an hour. I got $5 an hour. No, it was $2 an hour. Because minimum wage was $4. He paid everybody $4.
Except for kids.
Yeah, they get paid less because they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he said. That when we got robbed, him and Dad had a falling out. He collected insurance money on whatever happened to and then he made us pay for it, pay him back on top of him collecting the insurance money.
Wow.
He was a shyster. Dad got mad at him. I wasn't allowed to go back. I had to quit, or I'd have still been working for him probably. He and I got along pretty well. But anyway, I started working at the Holiday Inn about 18, and that's where I met Aaron's mom.
Yep.
And I had been straight as an arrow for a couple years. Been where I got in trouble around 16. So 18, I'm straight as an arrow, and I'm working at the Holiday Inn as a busboy, room server, waiter, and didn't know what I was going to do. They just threw me wherever they needed me. And we started dating. She chased me basically for a little while. And as hard as I could run, then I slowed down, let her catch me, and we started dating, and we moved in together. And then we decided to get married and moved to South Carolina for a couple years. And I was really lucky I survived South Carolina because I didn't realize how tough it was down there until I was back home and looked back on it. It was pretty dangerous living the way we were living, Aaron's mother and I. And we came back and bought some property after we got back about a year later, 6 months, and moved there. And then we started having children. And Robin came, then Aaron came, and then I got in an argument with my neighbor. Next thing you know, we're fighting. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had mental illness and alcoholism and addiction to the extreme. And I had a breakdown, and we ended up me going into a hospital. And from there, I went to a chemical dependency unit. From there, I went to 12-step programs. From there, I started hanging out at the fellowship home, and that's a halfway house for recovering alcoholics and addicts, men and women. And eventually I got a job there and worked about 16, 18 years. And then got a job at S&W Resources with disabled. They work with disabilities, people with disabilities, and became an artist and did probably a dozen, maybe 24 pieces in the 6-7 years I worked there. COVID came along. My granddaughter moved in with me and for 2 years, and then she ended up going back to her mother's, and that brings us to about now. I've had a few women in my life in the last 30 years. Both have been, or two of them have been Sarah's, and right now I'm mentoring or hanging out with a friend of mine's son who has autism, highly functioning Asperger's, and it's a challenge, and it's quite an honor to see some of the stuff that he overcomes, on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people I don't think would even notice, but I believe there's miracles happening all the time around us, and most of the time we don't even see them. We are blessed.
Yeah.
And when I get seriously depressed from PTSD or the things that have happened over the years, I try to remember I'm blessed. And I say prayers nowadays when I see an ambulance, or when I see a police officer, when I see a fire truck, I'll say a prayer because I forget to pray. And that's important to me. It helps my soul. And when I remind myself to pray with the fire trucks and things, it builds a relationship between me and my higher power that I need. I cannot. And he has provided for me so many friends and so many blessings over the years that I really haven't done anything to deserve or earn it. And it's the COVID threw everybody for a loop. I didn't get vaccinated. I think I got COVID 3 times. And I was scared to death that it was going to kill me. Pretty much made peace with my maker and realized I was on borrowed time. We all are. And the COVID, I think, changed us all in some ways in negative and in a lot of ways in positive, I hope. We learned how to communicate over the phone like we are in a way that wouldn't have imagined. And a lot of good things have happened. A lot of things are going to happen. It's scary, but exciting. That's life. It's full of fear. It's full of excitement. And finding out where the middle of the road is important for me. I think that's the lesson. One of the lessons I wanted to say was to be reasonable. You know, life has a way of beating you down if you're not reasonable. If you're reasonable, it has a way of building you up. And the only thing I know is when I think of myself all the time, which I do, I get sort of miserable and depressed. When I reach out and try to be of service to my friend's son or to my own family or to my property even, when I try to do something for the future, plant a tree, it seems that I get out of myself, and that makes me more reasonable. The more disagreeable I become, the less I have as far as relationships go, and that's sad. I spend a lot of time out here alone, and it's solitude. It's good, and it's bad. And I've learned in my life to live with extremes, bipolar. It seems that my life is riddled with extreme love and extreme anger at the same time.
Yeah, I hear that.
Extreme fear and extreme faith at the same time.
Yeah, we don't.
It's twisted.
Yeah, we don't half-ash anything. We only know how to whole ash.
It's never half-ash.
That's the other artistic thing I'd like to describe is my name is Forrest Glen. And in a glen in the forest, it's a sunny spot. And one of my favorite thoughts that has to do with prayer and being reasonable. I think my higher power wants me to be reasonable with him. And how I do that is that there's a meditation in the Al-Anon book that I read and love. It talks about a little boy in a glen in the forest sitting on a rock near a stream. And he's saying his alphabet. An old man comes up on him. He says, "Little boy, what are you doing?" He says, little boy says, "I'm praying." The old man says, "No, you're saying your alphabet." Little boy says, "Yeah, but God knows what I need
Yeah.
to say." When I'm in fear, when I'm in doubt, he knows. I just have to have faith.
Yep.
And he knows.
Keep singing
And
your
I'm gonna be
ABCs.
okay. A lot of prayers I've been introduced to and thought processes. One of my favorite I found this morning. What's your thoughts? They become words. What's your words? They become action. What's your action? They become habits. What's your habits? They become character. What's your character? It becomes your destiny.
Yeah. I remember you had that posted up most of my childhood by your computer, and I've seen you carve the Serenity Prayer into 100 pieces of slate and 100 pieces of glass and write it down 100 different times. So, one of the ways I see my dad, sorry, I'm just trying to give you time to collect your, is I read this beautiful series of books by Susan Trott. The first is The Holy Man, and it's about this dude who's up on a hill, and he's the holy man, and people come and ask him for his wisdom or whatever, and they don't even realize that who he is until it's too late. But I think I've realized I realized pretty early on that luckily I've got a holy man up on a hill that I can reach out to. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a line down the driveway moving forward, people coming to ask you what they need to do, because, man, the amount of clarity and peace I've got over my 30 years with you, Dad, it's immeasurable. And that's why, whenever I finally getting around to starting my nonprofit, I don't know if I've told you this, but I want to name it the Forrest Glen. Because it's a place to relax and a place to have peace and clarity
And say your alphabet.
say your fucking alphabet.
How you gonna spell Forrest? Forced? Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Doctors want to force me around. Hey, I've been fighting people forcing me all my life.
Everyone thinks I misspell it. I spell it with too many R's, but no, that's how you spell it.
That's just how it is. That's exactly how it is. I spell it with too many R's. That's because you were in the Navy. R.
Oh, yeah. Salt life or whatever.
That's a knee slapper.
The worst. Incorrigible.
The reason for the name is my mom had a good friend. Her best friend was Forrest. And then my grandpa and my dad are Glenn on my mom and my dad's side.
It's a lot of heritage. You got to be a good friend.
You want me to read the full version of the Serenity Prayer? It's beautiful. The
Sure.
full version.
We would love to hear the Serenity Prayer from you.
Yes, please.
Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as a pathway to peace, taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy in the next, forever in the next, with him forever in the next. Amen. Sorry I messed it up.
No, you did amazing. I couldn't have done it better myself, that's for sure. I did want to ask you something. So, like I said, I wrote down some stuff while you were telling me your story, and I was curious. So you said that you were doing a schooling for the graphic arts. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's a 2-year program, and they didn't know what to do with me is what happened. Art saved me again. I was failing in history and social studies, and I needed something to cover one of them, which was ROTC, and then the other one was a trade. So I went to school for 3 hours a day in high school, and they let me start off late. So my senior year, I was in a sophomore class, and then I had to go back and finish the class. But I learned how to use a comp set before computers were popular. We had to write code for every letter that we wanted printed. It had to have like a 5-6 letter code. So if I was going to spell cat and print it, photograph, make like a picture of it so I could photograph it and then put it on a plate and then print it.
Yeah.
That would be the process. But before you print it, before you make the copy that you're going to photograph, you have to have the the comp set, or what was before computers, are right there, before they were popular. You had to type in all these codes for every single letter in cat, and then it would print that font. The reason for the code was there's 1,000 A's, there's 1,000 B's, there's 1,000 different fonts of C, and each font had a code. And you had to write in the code for the size. You had to write in a code for where you wanted it on the page. So I was writing codes before computer came out, not codes for internet or anything fancy, but for letters, for printing. We worked on print shops, worked in a dark room, printed T-shirts, and check things for each other, and it was pretty exciting times.
Yeah.
Being 18.
Were
Being
you
18 and lonely as a romantic.
a trap boy?
Yeah, little trapper.
So, was that what sparked your love for art, or did you already have a love for art before you did that?
My first introduction to art was probably from my mother, but my first introduction to being an artist, being called an artist, was in second grade. I was 6 or 7, I think 7, and the teacher wanted to paddle me because I was being unruly, and she accidentally hit me wrong with the paddle, and it scared her and upset her, and she gave me a big hug and gave me special attention instead of paddling me all the time. Because I was always giving her problems in second grade. I was bored to death. I didn't like learning. It just seemed like there was no point to me to learn math, or at that age, for some reason, I just didn't excel.
Yeah.
But with art, I drew a turtle and won second place out at the local college. PCC is WVUP now. I got second place in a art contest out there, and still have that piece of art 55 years later.
Ooh.
But
That could be a Patreon thing. We could send him dad's. Oh, dude.
Art?
Yeah, we could make prints of his turtle. Oh, dude. Oh, so much merch
Turtle
idea.
prints. The Forrest Glen original.
yeah, it's pretty good too. But I think she cheated and helped me a lot.
She may have elbowed somebody in the ribs.
If you want to call it cheating, that is. A lot of people wouldn't call it that. It just helped.
She was advocating. That's a little different.
Yeah, you were the artist here. Come on. She could tell. She knew.
But in second grade, around 6, 7, I was labeled an artist, and that's been my talent all my life. And now my art is more along the lines of buildings and tools and roads and carpentry and planting wildflowers Aaron gets me, and I hope to plant some fruit trees in the next year or two.
Yep.
And it's a good life no matter how bad it gets. I have been struggling lately with a lot of things, and sometimes it seems like things back up. And there's 5 or 6 problems. Usually when I catastrophize and there's 12 problems, I probably need help. And that means maybe too much depression and I should call my doctor. I should call my psychologist.
Yeah.
I should look at my pill counter and make sure I've been taking my medicine. I might look at my water intake in the morning after I take my medicine. If I don't have water in my medicine and my medicine in my belly, then I'm struggling for some reason. And my medicine's not working, and it's my own darn fault. You know, I haven't put water in there with the medication to make it work properly. I'm drinking the heck out of coffee and no water. Wow. That's a lethal combination.
Tim?
There's a lot of common sense things I think people were struggling with, and they're not even aware of it. And like I said earlier, there's miracles happening all the time, and we don't even see them. We're doing stupid things on the other side, and we don't even see them. Sometimes my list to not to do things is bigger than my list to do things. You know, I had a sponsor for 10, 15 years told me I was had dyslexia. He said, all of us alcoholics have dyslexia. We got everything backwards. If I pull up to a fork in the road and I think, wow, I should go right, I better go left.
Yeah.
I have no idea, Tim or Aaron, what God's will is. But if I ask myself, can God do it? And the answer is no, I better steer clear.
Yeah.
And God's will, I think, is obvious. He wants us to love.
I think
Love's the answer no matter what the question.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can love somebody if you're covering up your real self. And that's my goal in life. It's not my purpose, but it's my goal in life is to be real so that I can shoot from the hip and be sincere and honest and from the heart, always. And people understand me, and sometimes they want to throw it all away, and I do it anyway.
You see where some of my authenticity comes from, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible.
Every time I talk to Mom, she's like, dude, you and your dad are just like the same person. It's weird.
I wouldn't say that's a bad thing at all. Personally, that'd be a compliment. My cat keeps running in front of the camera.
I keep seeing the bushy tail. I'm super stoked.
Come on. Well, the St. Francis of Assisi's prayer is awesome.
The what?
The St. Francis prayer of Assisi.
What's
Lord,
up?
make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there are discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. That shows me I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, man.
Because I would much rather prefer to be loved than to love.
Yeah.
I'd much prefer to be heard than to listen. But life's the opposite.
Yeah.
So when you look right, take a left.
Left is always right.
I'll mark that down too.
That's my dungeoneering strat, Tim, when I'm playing D&D. Left is always right. If I don't know where to go, I'm going left.
Gonna go left.
It's like see your way out on exams.
Yeah. I think, I mean, you've shared everything that I could think about. You've told us who you are and what you've been through. And I think another question that I want to ask you, if you had to pick one thing to impart on somebody, some form of knowledge that you could only tell them once, what would it be?
Probably Rule 62.
What is Rule 62?
Don't take yourself so damn serious.
That is the best piece of advice ever. Rule 62.
The first AA group in the world ever, its name was Rule 62.
Yeah, it says right here. It's literally, quote, don't take yourself too damn serious. Jesus. Okay, now you understand why I'm such a goober, I guess.
Yeah, I see where that comes from as well. That is incredible. That's awesome.
So, gentlemen, that was heavy.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk more, or am I done? Well, I'm going to go to town, I think, if you guys are done. But I can wait if you're not.
You have time to go to town. All right. We love you, Dad.
We love you. You be safe. Thank you for talking with us today.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Be good
My
to yourself.
pleasure. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Talked to your dad so in depth and in length before, and like, yeah, everything he was just saying, dude, was just resonating with me so much. Like, how hard his life had been, everything that he had gone through, everything, his challenges, his struggles.
I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. I mean, we're just being authentic and talking about what we're going through, and that's going to resonate with people.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Thanks for joining us, Dad. We intend to do several collaborations with No Streetlights and the Forrest Glen.
Yeah.
So please reach out. Let us know if hearing some of my dad's story, just a very brief overview, has impacted you. That's mostly what we're trying to do, is touch lives. So if this has benefited you, please let us know. If you're ever wondering, like, should I message these guys? Answer is yes.
Yeah, please message us, comment, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm gonna say right now that what I got to learn from your dad today, I have it written down, like I've already said, but his wisdom, his knowledge, it's definitely reached me, and I cannot wait to hear more from him.
Same. Hopefully I got 10 years to listen to him.
Let's shoot for 15.
Amen, brother. Thank you for joining us. This has been Aaron.
And Tim.
Be good to yourselves and each other. We love you.
Peace.